Now, the rise of a corporate empire in Vietnam. Vingroup, one of the biggest private companies in Asia, has dozens of subsidiaries, including VinSmart, VinFast and VinSchool. We'll explain. The company made its name in real estate, then expanded into other avenues like supermarkets, amusement parks, education, healthcare, and as I just mentioned there, now smartphones and cars. Wow. Joining us now, I'm pleased to say, Vingroup Vice Chairman Thuỷ. Miss Thuỷ, great to have you on the show with us. So thank you so much for joining us. For viewers that might not understand what Vingroup is outside of Vietnam, just explain what the ethos of the company is and just how you've expanded to so many areas.
Hi, thank you for having me. When you think about Vingroup, the few words come to my mind. Our tagline is forever startup. So every day we live a life of a startup, and we try our best to survive that day. We promote being effective and speedy, and we all about result oriented. Vingroup is a very dynamic and demanding organization on all the employees. And we also, above all, we also promote the Vietnamese culture and spirit within our group. But at the same time, we started becoming international and started having a lot more and more international employees supporting us in the workforce as well.
From Vingroup, I think, is an evolution from sort of traditional businesses that I mentioned, like tourism, real estate, to far higher tech, the work that you're doing with smartphones, with cars, for example, too. Again, it feels like the ethos of the company comes back to sort of modernization push as well in Vietnam and beyond.
Yeah, our mission is for a better life of the Vietnamese people. So everything that we do is for that purpose. We build residential development to make to give the people not just better homes, but give them a better lifestyle. We build modern shopping malls. We build school. Hospitals, we modernize the agriculture in Vietnam, and most recently, as you already mentioned, we started a car company less than 3 years ago, VinFast, and our cars already on the street in Vietnam, becoming 2 of our 3 cars have become recently the best-selling cars in Vietnam in June, surpassing all the other car models in Vietnam. And we also just over a year ago we started getting into smartphone, and we're already making smartphones and IoT products and many other technology related products.
I mean, this is astonishing. In the space of 2 to 3 years, suddenly going from getting into a business and actually having cars and phones on the market here. I know you're eyeing expansion opportunities, as you mentioned, internationally as well. Talk about your ambitions here in the United States, because I know you see this as a potential market for Vingroup products.
Yeah, we're very focused about our international expansion. So outside of Vietnam, we would like to expand into the U.S. and focus all our resources in the U.S. before we expand to other countries. So we're preparing for VinFast and VinSmart to be in the U.S. Pretty soon.
Can you give me a sense of how soon?
VinSmartphone very soon this year, and VinFast cars by the end of next year.
Wow, I mean, this is pretty incredible. Okay, I want to talk about what's happened in light of the pandemic that we've seen. I mean, our viewers are well aware that Vietnam's handling of this has been very different compared to what we've seen in the West. But clearly you have tourism assets, you have parts of the business that surely have been pretty severely impacted. Can you give us a sense of that?
As you might have seen that Vietnam has handled the situation pretty well from day one, even though next to China, and we're very probably one of the very first countries that had people coming from China with COVID. So far, we still have a clean record, so no death from COVID in Vietnam yet. Our group, having more than 50,000 employees all over the country, and suffering through the lockdown, obviously we were impacted by the pandemic. However, we actually one of the very first organization in the country to let people work from home and basically segregate our employees into different groups, and people that don't need to serve customers were allowed to stay to work from home, and we started promoting more working from home. But there were people in our workforce that had to be in touch with the customers. So we have like special allowances for people that that high risk people that had to face the customers on daily basis. We give them additional allowance for for being in the risk group, and then we have the medium risk group with a little bit lower allowance, and a lot. By now we get back to normal, and all the business units know that they have to at least reach their target, or even have to surpass the target that they set out at the beginning of the year. But the pandemic brought some very memorable experiences for us. Like, for example, at VinFast, where some of the expatriates, some expatriates came to our chairman and said that, we don't want to take, the company is suffering, we don't want to take salary, just we're willing to take some pay cut. So our chairman said, he's very touched by the gesture, but we vowed to keep all our employees on the payroll, even though we stay at home for like a month and a half, almost 2 months. Our chairman said, because all our employees have family, they still have to support families, even though other businesses in the country or elsewhere shut down or cut the salary. We don't do it. We still make sure that the employees are fully paid, and we still make sure that we support the employees, and that proved to be
incredibly important
to yield a good result for us, and we get a lot of loyalty from the people after that.
Which is essential. Many businesses around the world would love to do the same. Ms. Thuỷ, I do want to ask you if there's any criticism of Vingroup that I've read as I've been sort of investigating and trying to understand the company. It comes to sustainability and how green the company is as it expands. And I know it's a challenge perhaps in Vietnam, but it's a different story, and the focus is different when you are trying to enter a country like the United States, for example. What's your stance on sustainability? What's the plan?
At Vingroup, in the past, I would say 2 or 3 years, we started focusing a lot more efforts on green policy. Part of it is being responsible, because we're the biggest business group in Vietnam. So being responsible to the country and responsible to the world as a whole. But also for us, especially for me being a CEO of VinSmart, right? I know that I cannot get our products into like EU or the US if we don't have a clear green policy. So we started implementing a green policy within VinSmart, but within Vingroup in the past few years. Vingroup is one of the founding members of the National Plastic Action Plan, which is a program by World Economic Forum. So we're one of the founding members in Vietnam, and we're leading that effort in Vietnam. Within all different groups of different businesses within Vingroup, we also implemented various actions written in our policy to protect the environment and to reduce the impact on the environment. Like, give you a specific example of VinSmart, my business, we have reduced the use of plastic by 11.2%. From the beginning of the year, and the target is by 20% by the end of the year, despite the pandemic. Wow. And in addition to the actions to preserve the environment, we also, we're looking to invest into like renewable energy. So we're working with one of the big international partners right now on LNG power plant, and then we're looking at a few other solar.
Ms. Thuỷ, I'm going to have to stop you there because I have to go to a break now, but it's been fascinating to talk to you. We will continue the conversation because I have plenty more questions, I promise you. And I know I've stolen you from your birthday party, I believe, as well. So we will let you get back to that. And happy birthday for next week. Great to chat to you, the chairwoman of
Thank you.
Vingroup.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.